This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Heather Sells. The war against COVID-19 took a giant step forward today with the first person outside of clinical trials receiving the vaccine. People in the United Kingdom are the first to begin receiving it, and the United States is not far behind. British doctors gave the first shot to Margaret Keenan, who turns 91 next week. It happened at University Hospital Coventry. Reporters asked Keenan what she would say to those having second thoughts about getting the vaccine.
Well, I would say go for it. Go for it because it's free and it's the best thing that's ever happened at the moment. So please go for it. That's all I say, you know. If I can do it, well, so can you, you know.
Britain gave Pfizer's vaccine the green light just last week. The U.S. is expected to do this week. Just like in the U.S., doses are limited in England, so only the most vulnerable can expect to receive it right now, and elderly people top that list. Well, CBN's medical reporter Lori Johnson joins us now to talk about what the U.S. can expect going forward. And Lori, spell out for us, when will Americans begin to get their vaccines?
Well, we know that just like in England, here in the U.S., more than 40,000 Americans already got their Pfizer vaccine, but those people were enrolled in clinical trials studying the vaccine. And that's important because it's not like these people who are the first in line to get their vaccine are guinea pigs or something. They are the first so-called regular people who were not in the trials. So here in the U.S., it looks like as early as this Friday, we could see people who are the most vulnerable getting their vaccines. This Thursday, the day after tomorrow, the FDA is expected to give the Pfizer vaccine the go-ahead. And once that happens, we're told it will be distributed within 24 hours.
Wow. And who is at the front of the line here in the U.S. right now? And how many people do you expect will get vaccinated in this first push?
Well, elderly people, particularly those living in nursing homes or assisted living, places where the deaths are disproportionately high, they're at the front of the line, as are healthcare workers, because if they're out, there isn't anyone to treat other COVID patients. About 25 million people will get their vaccines by the end of this month. There are 50 million doses available, but remember, each person needs 2 of them. So they get a shot, wait 3 weeks, and get another shot. And it's 1 week after that second shot that the person is fully immune. So that's a full month after the first shot. So we're looking at late January before the first round of people are fully immune, Heather.
Okay, and of course this is happening as the U.S. is seeing record COVID-19 deaths. So what do we know about why this current spike?
Yeah, the last 7 days have been the deadliest since the pandemic began. 15,000 people lost their lives to the virus, an average of more than 2,200 a day, which is 1.2 deaths per minute. It was the leading cause of death in our country, surpassing heart attacks, lung cancer, car crashes, any other cause of death. And doctors say this is fallout from lots of folks getting together in closed spaces for long periods of time over Thanksgiving, and also just generally all people moving indoors as the weather gets colder. Something to keep in mind as each of us considers how we will spend Christmas.
Yeah, that's the big question right now. Lori Johnson, thank you. Well, the recent surge in coronavirus cases has led California leaders to implement new stay-at-home orders, and they are the most restrictive measures since Governor Gavin Newsom imposed a statewide stay-at-home rule back in March. Mark Martin joins us now with more. Mark, what do we know about these new orders?
Heather, soaring infections in California are driving the number of hospitalizations to around 10,000, and the impact of these new rules is expected to hit more than 30 million Californians.
The new stay-at-home orders ban indoor and outdoor dining at restaurants, close salons, and impose restrictions on social get-togethers. The goal, curb the number of coronavirus infections and hospitalizations. Small business owners question the extent of the measures.
Well, it hurts us, definitely. From a sales perspective, we can't serve outside anymore. So it's a little bit disappointing that we would be the ones to get shut down, where we've worked so hard to get to a a safe place for our clients.
One LA restaurant owner's plea for help has now gone viral. Angela Marsden voiced her frustrations about the latest lockdown and explained how she and other business owners are struggling to survive.
This is dangerous. Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom is responsible for every single person that doesn't have unemployment, that does not have a job, and all the businesses that are going under. And we need your help. We need somebody to do something about this.
The new rules also ban residents from getting together with people outside of their households. On Sunday, California reported a third day of record COVID cases, with infections going over 30,000.
I think across the board, you're seeing a lot of small businesses struggling to navigate the pandemic, struggling to understand what their state regulations are, and then really waiting on the federal government to pass relief that will support them and help them. Our most recent survey was in mid-October, and 1 in 3 small businesses said they wouldn't be able to survive the next 3 months without federal relief.
And during the holiday season, it's especially tough.
This is the busiest time of the year for restaurants. Generally speaking, I would say a lot of people would normally be getting together or having holiday parties. So we've lost all of our private party business. We've lost all catering business.
The Associated Press reports some law enforcement officials say they don't plan to enforce the rules. They say they're going on the honor system and counting on residents to voluntarily wear masks and social distance. Heather, back to you.
Thanks, Mark. Well, California churches have also been struggling with COVID restrictions and pushing back against prohibitions on indoor services. And we are joined now by attorney Matt Staver, the founder of Liberty Counsel. He's arguing a case on behalf of Harvest Rock Church in Pasadena, California. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you, you received a boost from the Supreme Court, which told the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to reevaluate its decision against the church in light of a similar decision made in New York. And that's the good news. But the bad news, of course, is that cases in California are surging. What is your argument to the court as to why churches should be able to meet?
Well, first of all, these restrictions of no worship that cover 99% of California actually go as far back as July the 13th. And the no worship also includes no worship in your home or Bible study in your home with anyone who doesn't live there. These are not recent restrictions. They're going back to mid-July. And that's what has been happening in California. At the same time, California governor has all these so-called essential businesses and similar congregating activity that he allows with either no restriction or very limited restrictions compared to places of worship. So we've had 2 major cases from the Supreme Court, one on Thanksgiving Eve and then ours a week later, Harvest Rock Church and Harvest International Ministry, in which the court was very, very clear. The Constitution cannot be just simply set aside and have this discriminatory treatment against churches and places of worship. And you could not have a stronger opinion coming from the U.S. Supreme Court. In our case, they granted our petition, set aside all the lower court orders, and they've given them a roadmap. This is the roadmap. You need to follow it. And when you follow this roadmap, there's one destination that is inevitable. These restrictions in California are even worse than New York, and they violate the First Amendment.
How concerned are you about the precedent that these COVID restrictions on churches are setting? What are we looking at potentially post-pandemic if people become used to the government really clamping down on churches like this?
I think it really sets a terrible precedent that even during a time of crisis, you can put a pause button on the Constitution. The Supreme Court clearly said that's not the case. We're not going to give the Constitution a sabbatical. And what I think we've seen happen with Governor Gavin Newsom in California and other governors, they've gotten drunk on the power that they have to issue these executive orders. And they don't even acknowledge the First Amendment. They believe that places of worship, churches, are not essential. And so they give them discriminatory treatment and throw them very few crumbs from the table while they dine with other people and spend $15,000 gathering together with other people for a birthday party. And yet the people of California, in particular, the churches, are hurting. It's not only a constitutional right to meet that these governors are violating, but churches are now more essential than ever because due to this pandemic, you hear the stress on people's voices and you see it in their eyes. Domestic abuse, child pornography, drug and alcohol use have all skyrocketed: depression, antidepressant, drugs, and even suicide. And now the church is there to be able to minister to people. And you can't do that on a podcast. It is essential to gather together to encourage the community. Churches have always been essential, but they're more essential than ever. All right, and we have just about 30 seconds. I'm interested in your opinion on the Attorney General of California, Xavier Becerra, who's leading the charge against Harvest Rock and is now the nominee for Health and Human Services Secretary. Well, he's not only leading the charge against Harvest Rock, but he also started the criminal indictment against Sandra Merritt for doing the undercover investigation that revealed Planned Parenthood trafficking in human baby body parts. He has blood on his hands, and it's unbelievable that he would be tapped by Joe Biden to head up the Health and Human Services, where he can continue to push his radical pro-death, pro-abortion agenda and anti-religious freedom to add to that as well. All right, Matt Staver with Liberty Counsel, thanks so much for your time. Thank you, my pleasure. The state of Texas is making an unexpected move in the legal battle over the election. Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit Monday asking the U.S. Supreme Court to invalidate the election results in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. States can go directly to the Supreme Court in some cases dealing with other states. Paxton is asking the court to prohibit the states certifying electors or allowing them to participate in the Electoral College. The suit argues that changes made by the state's governors, secretaries of states, and election supervisors were inconsistent with relevant state laws and were made by non-legislative entities without any consent by the state legislatures. The acts of these officials thus directly violated the Constitution. Meanwhile, Texas Senator Ted Cruz told Fox News that he would argue another legal challenge to mail-in voting in Pennsylvania if it goes to the Supreme Court. The challenge stems from a law passed related to Pennsylvania's mail-in voting without an amendment to the state constitution, and the plaintiff argued that's illegal.
In Pennsylvania, the problem was made worse because the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is a partisan Democratic court that has issued multiple decisions that were just on their face contrary to law, and that's not how elections are supposed to work. In other news, online college classes may be no more safe for free speech right now than in person, and that's the conclusion of a new survey of close to 500 universities by a free speech advocacy organization. The Foundation for Individual Rights in Education reports that half of its surveyed colleges maintain policies that illegally restrict online speech. It also found that 9 in 10 universities restrict free speech in some way. One concern, colleges that penalize students for violating harsh campus speech policies. The foundation is highlighting a case involving a New Jersey doctoral student who got in trouble after other students complained about his Zoom background, which was a picture of the president. Well, coming up, raising awareness and helping parents navigate the culture in public schools.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
There's new help for parents whose children attend public schools. Focus on the Family and the Family Policy Alliance have released a parent's guide to help them navigate tough social issues. And it includes the latest on everything from the transgender movement in the locker room to sex ed and parents' rights to opt their child out. It's called Back to School for Parents. And joining us now is attorney Stephanie Curry with the Family Policy Alliance. Stephanie, thanks for joining us. You actually wrote much of this guide. What is the motivation behind it?
Yes, we at Family Policy Alliance, we get phone calls from parents across the nation telling us about this radical and liberal agenda in the classrooms, telling us about their rights being trampled upon and asking for help, begging for resources and what they can do to protect their child's rights and their rights when they send their child to school.
Yeah, confusing times. One of the newest issues for parents is the transgender movement. What should parents do to become informed about that, and what should they do if their daughter encounters a biological male in her restroom or her locker room?
There's quite a few things parents can do to fight back, and the first thing parents should do is download this guide, Back to School Guide for Parents, and it will give them information and specific practical steps as to what they can do if they encounter this in the schools. First thing they need to do is talk to school staff and their school principal and ask about, can there be accommodations made for students who identify as transgender? There's usually very few in the school that identify in this way, and the rights of the 99% of other students shouldn't be trampled upon for a select few.
All right, and you also write extensively about the nurse's office. What rights do parents have to find out how their child is being treated by the school nurse?
Parents maintain all of their parental rights to direct the medical decision-making of their child. It is deplorable that schools are able to make medical decisions, or they feel that they can make medical decisions for children without parental permission or consent. You sign a consent form at the beginning of the year. You can limit your consent and tell exactly what kinds of services your child can get. And you need to stay informed, and the school must inform you as to what kinds of treatments they're giving to your child.
Stephanie, when it comes to sex ed, you write about two kinds, abstinence-based and then comprehensive sex ed, or CSE. What is the difference between these two curriculums?
There is a huge difference. CSE is a radical political and social ideology that is going to teach your child about LGBT relationships in explicit detail. They're going to teach your child about consent and how and when and where they can have sex. It's just very radical. They'll promote abortion, all of those things. And parents have the right to know about this, and they have the right to opt their child out. Abstinence-based education or sex ed that promotes sexual risk avoidance is positive. It really teaches your child how to protect themselves and the basic biological facts of sex ed that we all grew up with, not a radical social ideology that has ended up in our child's classrooms.
All right, this is all a lot for parents to keep up with, and I know your guide goes into a lot more information. Stephanie Curry with Family Policy Alliance, thanks for your insights.
Thank you so much.
Still ahead, from the latest technology to the ancient texts of the Old Testament, how bringing them together could help heal our divided nation.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
A new digital platform, the Joshua Project, hopes to help restore our country with a focus on the Old Testament. It is bringing together evangelical Christians, Catholics, and Jews to help overcome the many fractures that divide us. And joining us now is Dr. Karen Swallow Prior. She's an author and professor of English and Christianity and Culture at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. Dr. Prior, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to ask you, this project is aimed at helping to heal our country. Big question, in your view, what is the diagnosis or the fundamental problem that we are facing right now as a nation?
Well, I think we all know and feel the effects of the tremendous polarization and division that we are experiencing right now. It has come to surface because of the most recent presidential elections, but of course, these things have been simmering under the surface for a long time. And it's really, a wonderful thing to be part of a project to bring people together across these divides, and especially based on the thing that holds us all together, which is this biblical foundation for our morality and our law in this country.
Right, and so interesting, because I don't know that a lot of people would automatically think, oh, the answer is in the Old Testament. So how did this focus on the Old Testament come about, and how do you see it helping people?
Well, this project is really the brainchild of Rabbi Ari Lamb, who is just a brilliant young leader and scholar in the Hebrew Bible. And of course, he also really respects and admires the Christian faith that is based on the Old Testament. And so he is bringing people from the major faith traditions together, because what we do have in common is the fact that this country was founded on the biblical vision for ethics, for morality, for law. And I don't mean that in just sort of the easy way that, we can mistakenly say that our founding fathers were Christians. They may or may not have been, but they certainly were informed by a Christian worldview and were shaped by the principles of the Old Testament and the New. And we all share that in common much more than these current polarizations would have us believe.
Right. It's so interesting. I know people have even talked about the equality movement. What is the underpinning of that? And you have to look at the Imago Dei. I want to ask you about the new administration that's preparing to start in January. The Biden team has used a lot of spiritual language in the campaign, but its policies may or may not prove to be friendly to people of faith. What kind of posture are you hoping that evangelicals will take as they prepare for change in Washington?
I think what we've all seen in the past few decades, actually, is the use and really the co-opting of religious language and religious people. And politicians are going to use whatever they can use, and we have to get ourselves back grounded in the scriptures so that we understand what our place is in our true kingdom, and not allow ourselves to be used by politicians on the left or the right, and to work with them as we can to advance this biblical vision for human flourishing. But certainly we need to be grounded in those scriptures ourselves first.
Well, it is great to have something hopeful to look forward to, like the Joshua Project. Dr. Karen Swallow-Prior, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Clemson's Dabo Swinney's answer on a radio show brings one of his greatest priorities back in focus in the world of sports.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances. I'll give you my best praise. Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Clemson football coach Dabo Swinney is known for his love of football, his team, and his faith. On a radio show this week, a 15-year-old fan named Jordan asked him what he would say to himself at age 15. Swinney was quick to point the young man to living his life on purpose and making a large part of that a relationship with God. Swinney told Jordan, if you will build your life on a foundation of faith, then you will know true peace and happiness. If you build it on anything else or seek happiness in anything else, then you are going to always be let down. And that's it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. Please remember you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel at any time or online with cbnnews.com. Also, please do tell us what you think about the stories that you have seen by emailing us at newswatch@cbn.com, or you can talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope that you will join us next time. Please have a great day.